We're going to go to number 2. We're going to talk martial arts. We're going to do some martial arts. Alright? So, earlier today, on an unknown channel, an unknown name, person I follow, and I respect, don't always agree on everything he says. Now I gotta call him out, because it really wasn't him. However, before I get into anything, and if I don't die from thirst, stop sleeping and talking about Bruce Lee. Okay? For all of us who was born in 1973, like me, or 83, or any other goddamn time after Bruce Lee's death, don't worry, I will do another demonstration in a minute. 1. To call Bruce Lee a fake is only a blatant act of disfucking respect. Alright? You weren't there, I weren't there. No one can prove that Bruce Lee was not a fighter. Hard time trying to prove that he is a fighter. Alright? Yeah, he was an actor. He made kung fu movies. Excuse me. Now I'm going to break something down for you people who do martial arts but don't do movies, versus people like me who do martial arts and do make movies and are just busting my ass to break into this business for the last 20 years. First and foremost, I've been fighting since I was 6 years old. You don't have to believe it, and I don't give a damn if you do. Because 2 things we can do. We can talk about it, hunt down witnesses or people whose ass I kicked, who's going to come on TV and say, yeah, that little motherfucker whooped my ass. Nobody. Nobody wants to be embarrassed. No one wants to be humiliated. And although that is a fact of life, no one from my past is going to jump up on this goddamn show and say, hey, remember that time you beat my ass? No one's going to do that. No one. I wouldn't do that if I got my ass kicked. I wouldn't sit there like, yeah, this motherfucker whooped my ass. Alright? Now, I have done that. If you've been with Kung Fu Havoc number 2 long enough to know, I have admitted to losing a sparring match, but I've never lost a real fight in my life. Except for when my big sister used to whoop my ass on a daily basis. Which is why I'm tough as nails. My big sister made me tough. Never lost a street fight. Never lost a real fight, other than the time my big sister whooped my ass. And she whooped my ass till I was 15 years old. So to tell you anything other than when I was turning 15, she beat my ass till I turned 15. Alright? Without question, without remorse, she beat my ass. No one in their right mind is going to come out of the woodwork and post on Instagram or YouTube, yeah, James beat my ass when he was going by the name Jonah. Jonah. That was what I always called in the projects for those who don't know, remember, or give a damn. So no one's going to do that. What's up, brother? The thing is, a lot of things that people say about Bruce Lee pisses me off. And I'm going to defend Bruce Lee tonight. And I don't give a flying fuck who doesn't like it. Don't come at me with dumb shit, because I will fucking hurt you. Alright? Everybody thinks they're a badass until they get hit in the mouth. That's a saying from wrestling. It's a saying that's true to life. I have never claimed to be a badass, but the bad don't fuck with me, because I'm going out. But if you're bad, you're coming with me. You may whoop my ass, but you're going to remember that I was there. You won't come back. I promise you that. You'll wish you never met me when it's done. So, earlier today, to everyone, again, who thinks Bruce Lee was never a fighter. Have y'all ever considered actually going to ask Bruce Lee's brother? Any of them, because he has some brothers that are still alive. They're old as fuck, but they're still alive. But anyone who thinks that Jackie Chan, Jet Li, Sammo Hung, and them are just actors that can do martial artist type stuff. Just because you don't think a person can fight is when you find out that a person actually can fight. When I was younger, before I got good with martial arts, I never thought this shit would actually work. I'll be honest. Who needs your feet when these damn things work? I needed my feet. Because I learned that if I didn't learn martial arts, I wouldn't be the person I am today. And I probably would have had my ass kicked plenty of fucking times. Now, for those who keep saying, oh, Bruce Lee's an actor, Bruce Lee's an actor. Yeah, he was an actor. But he was an actor who couldn't get fucking arrested, like me, acting. He taught martial arts. Most actors don't really open up a school if they don't know martial arts and think that they can teach martial arts. So to say that he's not a martial artist, but an actor, you should be slapped in the face. I'm sorry. You have your opinion, and now I'm going to voice mine. I read your opinion. I seen your opinion. I hear your opinion. And on the flip side of that coin, it's an opinion. Just like mine. And just like my opinion, I don't give a damn. Just like you don't give a damn about mine. The facts are simple. None of us was there. None of us was born. I was born. I died many a times in life. And when I found out that Bruce Lee died before I was born, kind of hurt me. Because I thought Bruce Lee was still alive in 76. But Bruce Lee has been dead since 73. He died a month before I was born. In July. Go Google it. Because Google is your answer to everything. There is no footage of Bruce Lee actually in a street fight. They've made movies of Bruce Lee where you have Dragon, the Bruce Lee story, and then you have something the Dragon, the WWE made with the guy playing Walk Jack Man or whatever the fuck. And so no one's gone to talk to the dead Walk Jack Man's family. And FYI, you should probably Google this too. I'm pretty sure Dolph Lundgren, Olivier Gruner, Gary Daniels, Ray Park, Jet Li are all martial arts champions. Now, granted, they're not prize fighters. That does not make them any less martial artists. It's the same thing when I talk to you about touch karate or you're in a tournament, so you have to tap. You can't like go full force and shit like that because tournaments have rules. Well, professional fights have rules. You're gloved up. You are gonna go 2 to 3 5-minute rounds. You have rules. In a street fight, someone can put a knife in this bitch and pop this bitch out and stab you. Someone can bring a baseball bat and you can take it from them or you can take it from them. Yeah, that's like a rhetorical question. Am I going to take it from them when they're swinging at me, or am I going to snatch it from them and beat their ass with it, which is why I say don't bring weapons to a fight. Because if you don't know what you're doing, someone who does is going to teach you a very damn good lesson. Now, I know you guys don't want to hear how I feel about Bruce Lee being a martial artist, and yes, Bruce Lee has inspired most of us to get into the martial arts. And as great as Bruce Lee is, one of my favorite martial artists is Sammo Hung. And Sammo Hung was known best as the Fat Dragon. And if you go watch that movie, you will understand why he was called the Fat Dragon. Now, getting off of that, getting back on the topic. Just because you haven't seen someone fight in a real fight does not make them no less a fighter. Understand that. That's not a ghost, people. I know y'all saw that. The mat just fell behind me. The point being made, alright, I can tell you that I fought from 6 to 12 years old, and you can laugh in my face, and I have no proof because video cameras didn't exist back then. I mean, the news cameras existed, but your own personal video, if you weren't rich, you didn't have one, alright? And we didn't have cell phones and all that other shit, alright? But we did have eyewitnesses. I kept my golf cleats from my last fight when I was 15. The last fight that I've been in that I did not win because I couldn't get out of a fucking seatbelt, I got hit in the eye by a guy who was skipping across the street. Yeah, that skipping style is dangerous. And it wasn't even my car. It wasn't my cousin's car. He stole it. I drove it. I wound up in handcuffs. And I wound up with broken glasses and a cut fucking eye. Did I even get the chance to fight? No. I couldn't get out the seatbelt. That was God's doing. Because if I would have got the seatbelt, you guys would never know me because I was going to murder 3 people that night. Murder's not a fucking joke. And they would have deserved it. My cousin for stealing the car and getting my ass into the trouble that I got into. The other 2 would have been justifiable homicide because they attacked me. So, you have to understand how that shit works. Now, if you think that Bruce Lee's a fake, It's fine. It's fine. But let me tell you this. For every person who thinks he's a fake, there's 10 people who thinks he was real. Bruce Lee did not do no-touch knockouts. He did a one-inch punch. Bruce Lee did not do 10 steps to the sun and chi power and way of the fang and all this other shit. He didn't do any of that shit. You did not see in any of his movies was there any element of mysticism in it. There was no like magical chi powers and all that shit. And when he referenced the Shaolin, he referenced the Shaolin as fucking warriors, not just monks. You know, they were monks, but they were warriors. The yin and yang, the tiger and the dragon. That's what Shaolin were. In any Bruce Lee movie, when he was going to temples and shit, the Shaolin were not fucking, like, abused or any of that shit, you know. So, a lot of people have beaten Shaolin monks. Shaolin aren't invincible. Magic probably does exist. I believe in magic, but I can't just zap you through the TV or the camera or whatever you're watching. If I could, I'd be a bad motherfucker. And don't think that I wouldn't do it. Because I would. Just because I found out that I could. Which most people would, because that's what people do. Let me explain something to you all before I get up and start doing martial arts. If you haven't been in a fight, and you think you're a fighter, you're going to find out when the first punch hits you in the face, if you are a fighter or not. Simple as that. When you get hit in the face, if you get the fuck back up and you don't go to sleep, you're going to find out what you're made of. If you're getting hit over and over again and the adrenaline's pumping and everything's flowing through, you're going to find out what the fuck you are made of. And there are stories outside of the movies where Bruce Lee have fought people who thought that they was the shit, and Bruce Lee has won. There have been rumors for Bruce Lee and Ed Park or Richard Park or John Park, some goddamn Park who was a martial artist that threatened to fight Bruce Lee in the park, and neither one of them supposedly showed up for the fight. Now, I don't know how much of that shit is true. But for those who know Dan Inosanto, who's pretty much the king of martial arts now, you know, there's not a lot of him saying anything bad about Bruce Lee. Now, if Dan Inosanto comes out and calls Bruce Lee a phony or a fake, Dan Inosanto knows he's going to be in deep shit. Because he's been riding Bruce Lee's coattails. And I'm sorry to Dan Inosanto for saying that, but you were also brought up in the video in which I speak. Alright? I have mad respect for Dan Inosanto. But for anyone who doesn't have mad respect for Bruce Lee as a fighter, not just as an actor, hey, the real Jeet Kune Do masters are good. But it doesn't mean that they're going to whoop your ass. Because here's that thing about being a pioneer. Here's the thing about developing your own style of martial arts. Ready? Wait for it. Are you ready? Shh. It's your martial art. If you get your ass beat by something that you invented, you deserved it. You need to go back, reevaluate, and figure out what the fuck you've done wrong. Alright? Now, if you get beat with somebody else's shit that they taught you, you either weren't paying attention, or that's just not the style for you. So if I'm fighting you and you break into Crane and I break into Snake and we're evenly matched, and then all of a sudden I switch into Tiger, but you only know Crane, all you know is how to evade. Alright? Let me explain that for those who do not have references to Kung Fu animal styles. The Crane is a creature of peace. It will only fucking strike to protect its young. 9 times out of 10, it basically just dances around its opponent, especially the stronger and more aggressive opponent, to make sure that that opponent pretty much beats itself, because a crane uses its brain. As less beak and claw as more of brain and finesse, where the snake uses its fangs and its tail. It has only one impulse, and that is to strike. Understand the difference between snake and crane. Crane is developed to block a lot of shit and evade, where the snake is developed to strike and keep striking, because that's what a snake does. A snake coils and it strikes. Alright? The crane waves, wings, deflects. Alright? Some things are better left unsaid and better left showing. So from this side, here's your snake. Fist balled, there, talon open. No, that is incorrect. This is the crane, this is the snake. Yeah, I was correct. Sorry about that. So, the snake has a mouth that's open. The crane beak barely opens. Alright? And it's also up here. Snake, crane. Now, when you're going crane, you're here. So, this is open like that. Your thumb should be tipped in. And you're here. So, block, strike, or block, evade. And this rubber band right here is going to get me fucked up. This is the snake. Now you see the hand like that. So your snake, strike so that you can bite the throat. Understand? That's why your strike goes from here to there. Whereas your crane, it's waving. Now the snake can coil and then strike. Alright? Coil, strike. Crane. Wave, block, wave, block, wave, block, and push. So that's just pretty much, it's a strike, but it's also a block, like Kempo. Alright? Hopefully I'm teaching you something that you will understand that should possibly work. Nothing you got to understand about animal styles. Dragon, no one really has seen one. So when you start in your chi position, you can start here, you can start here. Some people start this way, but this is more tiger because tiger starts up here. So when you're tigering, you strike, you block, and you strike. You understand? So you strike, you block, and you strike. And most of your tiger and your eagle are pretty much the same. So your eagle has talons, your eagle flies. So you can strike in. You strike. Alright. Now, your mantis, it has those talon thingies too. I forgot, mandibles or whatever the fuck you want to call them. So your mantis is an aggressive animal, your insect rather, arachnid. It strikes. It will strike high and low, or it will strike high or low. Understand? High and low, high or low. Understand? Now, you can start here, and then here, and here, and then you're here. Now, when you do your mantis, sometimes the mantis perches, just like the crane. So, if your mantis perches, now your crane perch. What did you see was different? Nothing. Only the hands. So, martial arts are all related. Now, let me explain this to you. If you're throwing a punch, and I bat it away, and I come down, instead of breaking your elbow, and I come down and chop you in the throat, that could be considered the crane. If you are throwing a punch and I bat it away, and I come down and I grip your throat, that can be the snake, the tiger, or the mantis, and even the eagle. The thing is, animal styles change with the animal. But some of the movements are really close together. It's the same thing with karate and kung fu. There's very, very little difference. Very little difference. And to be honest, if you're studying karate, you are studying kung fu as well. It's just a different name and a different spin. Because karate and every other martial art pretty much spawned from kung fu. I understand that. Now, let me break this down because I still want to talk about this whole Bruce Lee bullshit that I watched today. One, you can type whatever you want on a screen. Alright? You're 10,000 miles away from me. Although I have told everybody before, my address is 512 Rougemont, Charlottesville, Virginia. And now the reason why I'm going to put that out there, besides the fact that maybe my crush will come visit me, that's not going to happen. Shout out to my crush. But the simple fact is this. There are laws that prevent me from fucking you up. There are laws that prevent you from fucking me up. If you are willing to fly across the country to start a fight and you die, that's your fault. Understand that if you're looking for trouble and you find it and it doesn't work out because you believe that somebody can't fight, that's kind of your fault. If you come up to somebody who you watched on the internet do all this shit, let me paintbrush them, and then you go to their house and you try to Kimbo slice their shit. You talk all that shit on the internet, I'm gonna fuck you up. Okay? That's fine and dandy. But what happens when you get fucked up? You're in a city, in a state that you don't belong in. You traveled all the way across country to cause a fucking problem because you believed that somebody couldn't fight. Now you're in a world of fucking hurt. Your ribs are broken. Your legs are broken. Your knees are broken. Your eyes knocked out of its fucking socket because you were stupid. Don't do dumb shit. You don't have to believe I can fight. It's fine by me. I'm 47 years old. If I have to fight you, I'm going to have to kill you because I'm old. I can't be playing with you young whippersnappers. When you're out here busting Omega 450s and 36,000 turn kicks and shit, I'm just going to wait for you to try and land. Because when you're doing all that fancy shit, as soon as your feet hit terra firma, boom! I'm going to stick with something basic. A front kick can do a lot of fucking damage. Alright? People don't teach you this shit when you go watch these martial art videos. They don't tell you, yeah, I'm going to do this. And after I get the third rotation, I'm going to kick you in the face. Because I'm going to build up all this momentum. And when I get this way for the third time, I'm going to throw this kick out. And it's going to catch you in the face. No. If we're making a movie, yes. But when you get here to go for this whip and spin shit, and then you're going to try to kick me in the face. Well, when you get here, you're going to get hit. Because when you go down for that butterfly kick or whatever you're about to attempt, boom, your head's right there in my range. And you got to think about how you have to work your way into that kick. I don't have to work my way into this. I don't have to work my way into this. I don't have to work my way into this. Boom, boom. I don't have to do that. You have to work your way into all that other fancy shit. And by the time you get halfway through the damn motion, bam! You're done. So why would you do that? You think fancy shit's gonna win a fight? You're gonna have to get really fucking lucky to do fancy shit. I don't have to get really lucky to sidestep a knee. I don't have to get really lucky to sidestep knee elbow. I don't have to do that. And once I've kneed you and you're bent over and I come up with an elbow and you come back up, I'm going to grab you and I'm going to bring my knee back into you until I can't. Then I'm going to go with the elbow. And while you're doing this, I'm beating you to the fucking ground. Because this is how real fights fucking work. When there's no set rules, when there's no time limit, when there's no clock, when there's no money being exchanged. Real fights work like this. Real fights last 2 to 5 minutes. Promise you. If you're fighting someone who doesn't know how to fight, maybe 1 minute. Maybe you're really strong and you have a one-hitter quitter and you may knock the fuck out of somebody who actually can fight. It happens. Trust me, it happens. I've never been knocked out in a fight. I've had my bell rung. Like I said, when I was driving a stolen car, I never expected this to happen. The guy literally was skipping like this. Now that doesn't look threatening at all, does it? Because it didn't look threatening to me. And I was wrong. You know, he literally, right up to the window, boop, hit me in the face. Boop, hit me in the face again. Broke my glasses, cut my eye. And the only thing I could tell him was, motherfucker, you're going to die. And then I couldn't get the seatbelt off. So yeah, he won that one. Without a fucking doubt, he won that one. I couldn't get out the fucking seatbelt. And when I got out the seatbelt, the cops had me. So yeah, he won that. He broke his hand on my face, but he still won that. Because I never laid a hand on him. Now, let me throw y'all back to something. So not too long back, many years ago, in my early 20s, or late 20s, whatever you count 27 is, had an issue with some neighborhood thugs. Alright? We never went to blows, because they was practically family. So we never went to blows, but they was always picking. Always brandishing guns. They would never fight me, but they was always talking shit. And I'm a quick guy to tell you, do it or shut the fuck up. Alright? Just that simple. If you're gonna kill me, just do it and get the shit over with. Don't explain your grandiose plan like they do in the movies. Just fucking hit me so we can get this shit over with. Simple as that. Because if I'm gonna get up, we're gonna fight. If you don't let me get up, then I'm gonna get my ass beat and that's gonna be that. So these badass guys, they were from up north, New Yorkers. So they got a guy from New York who's a sparring master. You know, I lost the sparring match. Because one, the first thing I did was tell myself I was going to lose. That was the first time and the last time that I've ever done that. And I lost the sparring match because I beat me. And you may think, oh, you're just telling yourself that. No. Literally. He took me down the first 2 times with the same fucking move. Didn't work the third time. Because I learned really fucking quick. And then I took his ass down. And then I took him down again. Somehow or another, I blinked. And he took me down with a different move. The third time. But see, he smoked cigarettes. He couldn't go another round. I can do this shit all damn day. Because this is the difference between somebody who lives for this shit and someone who's just a fucking flash in the pan. Real fighters like getting hit. Real fighters don't mind that shit because it teaches us how not to fucking get hit again. Alright? Real fighters aren't going to sit there and just let you whoop their ass. They're going to put up a fight. And if you better than me, you better than me. But you only going to be better than me one time. So when I come at you again, you better be ready. Because I'm going to come at you again. Now, if you beat me 3 or 4 times like it's a fucking wrestling match where it's set up for me to lose all the time, yeah, I'm going to leave you the fuck alone. Because I've had to accept the fact that no matter what I do, I can't whoop your ass. But if you beat me the first time, and I beat you the second time, I'm going to come at you a third time if you dumb enough to come at me. But see, we both got 1-1. The third time going to be the charm. But see, when I come at you the third time, you ain't going home the way you came there. Because you whooped my ass, I bled out a little bit, I recovered, I came back. My dumb ass followed you and followed you and followed you until you decided to fight. Now, in that time that I've been following you, don't think that I ain't been training. In that time that you whooped my ass, you might not have been training. You might have been looking at that shit like, motherfucker was a pushover. And that may have been the case if I was an ordinary motherfucker. Alright? But I'm not. Because if you whoop my ass, I strongly believe that you can whoop my ass again. Which means I need to train. Which means I need to remember every bit of that fight so that that shit don't happen again. I need to change my game. If you look at all these old UFC fighters like Ken Shamrock and all them, they were stand-up fighters and they all start going ground and pound after these Gracies and this BJJ shit happened. You know, because ground and pound was where it's at. And a lot of motherfuckers really just can't fight, so they ground and pound a motherfucker. And this is where the myth of fights usually go to the ground. Alright? Let me be honest with you. From this point on, let me tell you one thing that's apparent, and you need to know this shit so that I can end this video with a sound peace of mind. Understand, fights only go to the ground when the guy that's going to take you to the ground is let to take you to the ground. If a guy's trying to trip you, he's going to try to get his leg between your leg, behind your leg, or in some fucking fashion to take you down. Now, y'all in a clinch, and you focusing on the clinch, you ain't focusing on what he's doing. He's trying to get his leg between your leg. So in the event that he do that, and you have to go to the ground, there are ways to protect yourself when you fall. He's tripping you, so he has his leg between your legs. Shift your leg so that his leg doesn't get in your testicles. And aim this leg into his testicles. So this motherfucker gonna think twice before he tries to take another motherfucker to the ground. Because he's gonna land his dick on your knee. And when he lands his dick on your knee, he's going to be in more pain than you from the air being knocked out of your back from when you hit the goddamn ground. And this is where you take the fight. Because if you don't take the fight when you both hit the ground, you're going to get your ass kicked. He's got nuts just like you. When you go down, he go down. When he lands his shit on your knee, because you were a smart fighter, when he took you down, you turned your body. So all of your fat landed on the ground instead of you landing flat on your back, which could possibly knock the air. So if you know how to fall, and y'all in a clinch, you want to turn to the side. So when you're falling, all of this fatty ass meat is going to hit the street. So it's not going to hurt as bad. But your knee is going into his shit, which is going to hurt him. Now in the event that you can't fall, just brace yourself and pray. But you want your knee in his nuts. If you can't get your knee in his nuts, you get your knee up here in his sternum. And everybody's going to look at this shit and they'll be like, James doesn't know what he's talking about. James doesn't know what he's talking about. No, James does know what he's talking about because this is why James' ass has never gone to the fucking ground. In every fight I've been in, I've never had to take it to the ground. Because here's that thing. If you're a good stand-up fighter, you ain't going to the ground. If you're a good puncher or a counter-puncher or a striker or a counter-striker, whatever the hell you want to call it, you ain't going to the ground. And like I said, if I can out-sprawl you, you ain't taking your BJJ anywhere with me on that shit. And like I said, I learned BJJ in the Army, and I will admit right here, right now, to this day, I fucking suck at it. But I also know how the shit works. Understand that. If you know how a martial art works, that martial art's not going to work against you. And this is something that they don't teach you when you're sitting there. No, they don't teach you that if you know how martial art works, that martial art's not going to work against you. Alright? I learned how BJJ works in the Army. We started off on our backs. I can use that mat right there. But I don't feel like having to drag the camera. But we started off on our backs. I had a guy straddled across my gut, and I could not roll that son of a bitch to save my life. He was every bit of 190 pounds or 220, whatever. He was 6'5", that much is for sure. I could not get him off me. But I could slide my arms under his ass and slam my head into his nuts. Is it a dirty move? You're motherfucking right. But I'll tell you what. If somebody tries to get me down in top mount or side guard, I got their motherfucking number. Because a lot of people panic when they get to fight. Understand that. You're scared. Your adrenaline's pumping. You're worried about losing because you don't want everybody in the crowd to think that you can't fight. It doesn't matter if you can fight or not, because you can't win them all. You have to know that going in. Otherwise, you will lose very, very badly. Now, how you fucking accomplish a fight? How do you win? There are many different ways to win if you are willing to learn how to win. There are many sacrifices that must be made to win a fight. Is it worth it? Sometimes. But that all is all ego as well. Because, you know, your ego will fuel your fire to get fucked up. Never forget that. Your ego will fuel your fire to get you fucked up. And if you think that your ego won't get you fucked up, you are conceited. And you should probably reevaluate your shit immediately. Alright, so BJJ works on the principle of I'm on top of you. I'm going to scramble the top guard. So that means I'm over here. I'm spread it over you like this. And I've got you by your gi. And if we're not using gi, then I got you by your neck. Because my hands have to be placed somewhere like right here. Because I'm this way, but my hands are either going to be here or something. So you're going to be able to clap across and roll me over. Now my job is to prevent that. So before you roll me, I'm going to shift my body and get up here and try to put you in an arm lock. The same one that Oscar uses for wrestling. So I'm going to try to do that. But while I'm doing that, you're going to be grasping your hand. And if I'm on top of your arm, if I'm over here and you're right here, there ain't no rule that doesn't say that you can't bring your fucking knee into the side of me. Because I'm a small guy, so I've got to put all my body on top of your body to get that shit to pull. And while I'm pulling, your knees should be eating my side up. And if they're not, guess what? I'm going to get that arm because I'm not going to stop pulling. And if I put my hand or my foot in between your arm and I lay back and reel with that bitch because your legs are more powerful than your arms, unless you're a fucking bodybuilder where you have the big, thick arms and the skinny, skinny legs, you're going to get that arm. And when you get that arm and you get it free, you're going to lock that bitch in and you're going to put that arm bar and that guy's going to fucking tap. But that guy didn't have to tap. Not really. Because while you were focusing on his arm, his knee should have been focusing on your side. And you have to remember, I'm a skinny guy. So to describe it with me over top of somebody doesn't do what I'm saying justice. Alright? Like this is the chair. This chair is the person. He's on his back. I'm on top of him. Like this. This is his arm. This is his head. His knees and stuff are right here. I'm over here. His knees should be turned into my side. They should be turned into my side. So if he was standing up, it would look like this. Because he's fighting his arm. And I'm over his body. So his shit should be like this. He's on his back. So he's pretty much in a fetal position. There's no reason why he can't throw his knees into my back. He should be throwing his knees all up into my guts. Everything that he can find with his knees. Because I'm focusing on his arm. I'm not thinking about the rest of his body. So for all you BJJ experts, you should be teaching your students to be jamming their knees. Now, as a martial artist, when I was learning this shit in the Army, none of my drill sergeants said anything about that shit. They taught us how to transition, but they didn't teach us what you should be doing while someone else is fucking transitioning. Which is why I said BJJ sucks. Now for you BJJ experts, if you're good at it, hey, I'm not knocking you. But I'm telling you that if you can't get me to the ground, your BJJ is not going to help you. Now your regular jiu-jitsu, if you're using arm locks and shit to drag me to the ground, yeah, you got a fighting chance of getting me to the ground where you can use your BJJ. However, I've also studied regular jiu-jitsu. In regular jiu-jitsu, when we clinch up and we're going to like dance a little bit so that I can push and then turn it from jiu-jitsu to judo, where I can throw you down, or if I can push and get you in an arm bar, because I can get in and get it like this, where your arm is straight through and I'm locked around this bitch, you know, where if I'm locked in and your arm's through here, like either over or under, if it's under and I'm locked here and I can tighten up, I can elbow the fuck out of your face all day. And if you're smart, especially if I did this wrong, where I got this arm instead of this arm, which means I'm not over here, I'm in the middle. I got this arm. You're going to be punching me in the back of my head. If you've been taught right, if your arm's locked in here and I'm trying to make you tap because I have your arm locked against my body and it's twisted. I have both my hands locked on your arm. I'm trying to twist your arm up this way. I have one of my arms is under here to squeeze up your elbow. The other arm is here. So your shit's either going to tap or your shit's going to break. It's just that simple. Your shit's going to tap or you're going to break. Because I've trapped you now. I'm trapping you. Alright? However, in my trap, my mistake was I left your left side wide open. And if you're here and my body's right here, boom, boom, boom. Your arm's getting pulled. Your arm's getting the fuck yanked out of you. But there ain't but so many blows to the back of the head that a person's going to be able to take before they just like collapse. So you're worried about your arm breaking. Break my fucking skull. Boom, boom, boom. You don't have to give up the fight and tap that easily depending on the position of how this person has your body. Now for karate, and I decided to go into jiu-jitsu and my body's right here and your arm is locked right here, you have all of this, which is where I fucked up at. Now, if you're here and I'm on the outside of you and I got your left arm, now you got to step, well, I got your right arm. You have to step around yourself to throw a blow with your left. I can dance with you all fucking day long with jiu-jitsu. I can just dance with you and squeeze that arm because I got you locked here, but it's through here, but it's your left arm. So I got your left arm and you're dancing. We're dancing. I can drag you all the way around the place if I want to, and there's nothing you can really do about it. And this is the thing that you got to understand in a fight. Alright? Fights change. Grips change. And if you don't adapt, you're going to get clapped. It's really simple. Remember that acronym really quickly. If you don't adapt, you're going to get clapped. And the thing about fighting, alright? Sacrifices are going to be made in a fight. You may break an arm, but you can still win the fight. Just ask Forrest Griffin. You may do something incredibly stupid, and you can still win a fight. If your teacher is teaching you properly, then you should be able to adapt. You might not win every fight, but you should be able to adapt to avoid losing a fight severely. Or coming away with some severe, superficial damage or some shit that you can't fucking heal from. Toe locks and heel hooks and all that shit. They will never get that shit in me if I'm rolling with you. Because we ain't rolling the way you think we roll. You think we gonna sit here and you're gonna get me on the ground and we're gonna start on the ground. No, we start on our feet. And we're gonna put on gloves. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, the second that you go for your sprawl, boom! I'm kneeing you in your shit. And they were like, that's not how I was taught. You know why that's not how you was taught? Because the person who taught you didn't know that people would be smart enough to do that shit. When I was in the Army, and this is it, I'm gonna finish right now. When I was in Bravo, we did Taekwondo. But we also learned how to sprawl. And they said the reason why they teach us how to sprawl was because if someone comes in and does BJJ, they're always going to come and grab you at a one leg or a double leg. So I'm not going to let that happen. So I can sprawl and stop you from grabbing me. Or I can let you come in. And when you come in, boom! Because when you go for the sprawl, you're coming in to grab me. You are literally putting your head right where it don't need to be. So when you come in to go for that single leg or that double leg takedown, and I just drive my knee dead into your shit, the only BJJ you're going to be doing is when you come back into consciousness. And by then, you're going to be done. So I probably just pissed off about 95% of you out here who do BJJ. Watch these videos. I'm telling you. If you watch how people sprawl to take somebody down, I want you to pause that shit. So somebody's coming in, watch UFC, watch One Champion, watch whatever. When someone's going in for a takedown, watch what the other fighter does. They let that shit happen. I'm not letting that shit happen. It's not going to happen. A lot of fighters letting that see, if you tag me in the face, boom, and I'm rocked, I ain't got a choice but to let you get me because I'm still shaking off the fucking shit, the fact that you tagged me in the face. Alright? But if the fight's about to start, the bell just rung, and you coming in for a sprawl, you done. As soon as you get in striking distance, you coming in, boom, that knee is in your face because you have to come down to get me down. And you guys forgot I'm 5'3", which means you have to work even harder to get me down without trying to lift me up to body slam me. If you lift me up, I'm just going to get behind you and put you in a fucking chokehold. But if you coming down to try to take me to the ground, boom, I got you. I got you dead to rights, because as soon as you get within striking distance, bam, that knee's going to your face. And after that knee, I'm going to elbow the fucking shit out of you. Yeah, I know it's illegal in the UFC, but I don't give a fuck. I'm going to elbow the shit out of you to prevent you from fucking my shit up. And like I said, if I can't avoid it, I have to know how to absorb it. So when you tackle me or you spear me like they do in wrestling, I'm going to need to be able to recover. I'm going to need to be able to stop you. So in that case, I'm going to put my knees somewhere in this area, preferably right here, so that I can knock the air out of your shit. Because you're already going to knock the air out of mine. But I have to stay conscious and coherent enough to know how to fucking stop you from beating my ass. And that being said, that's something that you're going to have to learn in an actual fight. Because if you don't, you're going to get fucked up. And when you're training, you get your training partner to see how you can prevent from the sprawl. Because everybody's going to the ground, not me. If I got anything to say about it, you're not getting me on the ground. And I have a lot to say about it, because I'm not going to be the dummy that's going to sit there like, alright, I'm just going to let this motherfucker tackle me. No, I am not a fucking Super Saiyan. But I am a smart motherfucker. The second you come in, boom, closest knee to you is the one you're going to eat. Hopefully, I have taught you something tonight. This is Kung Fu Advocate number 2 and Instagram. Be seeing